This is my 6th video message to Mr. Donald J. Trump, President-Elect of the United States of America. 200,000 children are wrongfully retained and parentally kidnapped every year in the United States by illegal immigrants. My son, Duke Sean Schuermann, is unfortunately one of those 200,000 children. Dear Mr. Trump, President-Elect of the United States of America, my name is Stefan Schuermann. I'm the father of Duke Sean Schuermann, who has been wrongfully retained in your country. I extend my sincere congratulations on your election as the 45th President of the United States of America. I'm very delighted to know that you have won the elections for the presidency. Your victory with a large majority has filled me with immense joy. I take this opportunity to congratulate you once again on your well-deserved and overlong success. You are the perfect candidate for this post. All your hard work has been paid off. The zeal to do something for the old and for the young masses of the country has made your winning the elections more realistic. I hope you easily fulfill all your promises and shine brightly in the future. Wishing you all the best for your noble future endeavors. I want to use this opportunity and medium to pass on a message on my personal grudges that I believe to be illegal to the laws of the United States of America. And with all your promises and your views to making America great again, I believe my issues will be solved immediately, absolutely, and definitely. It all happens that I and my illegal alien wife, Jubilee Key, seem to have a terrible disagreement regarding the upbringing of our child. She started an adultery affair and refused to go back to our legal domicile in Marbella, Spain. She decided to wrongfully retain and kidnap my son, Duke Sean Schuermann, which you can see on this picture, and breaking federal immigration laws, she is now illegally residing in America with my child. No social security number, no insurance, no job, no money, nothing at all. So my son is being forced to live in a country where he has an illegal status. I came to America on an E2 investor visa. I spent $750,000 in a business. I didn't jump over the border in Mexico to give my child a future as an illegal immigrant. So a schizophrenic judge thought it would be better to have my son well settled in the United States and keep him illegal there. This is a total contradiction of every immigration law in the country and a total contradiction of every logic in the world for a father, that a judge has such a small-minded pea brain and decides to keep my son prisoner in the United States without any legal immigration status whatsoever. So, Jubilee Anqui, which is my wife and the mother of Duke Sean Schuermann, she currently lives illegally in the United States at an unknown address. However, her last known address is 320 Vinings Way Boulevard, apartment 10-202 in Destin, Florida, zip code 32541, with my son, Duke Sean Schuermann, and her criminal boyfriend, Jonathan Link Tedrick. Tedrick has been arrested more than 10 times for drug dealing, drug manufacturing, driving without a driver license, battery, assault, etc. And now he's guilty of harboring illegal aliens. It's a nice new stepfather for my son, isn't it? I'm so impressed what they have done to my child. This is a damage beyond repair. Nobody obviously gave a shit about the future of my son. They rather destroyed his future and his life. I've been well taking care of him for 6 years. He never got harmed. I never slapped him. Never, and I would never do so. And now he's together with an absolute piece of shit and is exposed to his criminal activities because a corrupt judge told him so. Anyways, Mr. Trump, Our marriage was solemnized on the 18th March 2007 in Costa Rica. On December 19, 2014, my wife, with the help of her cunning lawyers, filed for divorce in the United States, even though she is 100% illegal in the country. She has been able to pull me and my child into a nightmare of no comparison. Our marriage was dissolved by Okaloosa County Court on 11 April 2016 by Judge Michael A. Flowers, a total corrupt idiot, and entered into the record on fraudulent events, but Okaloosa County Court accepted jurisdiction and over the divorce on false grounds that both parties were legally residing in Florida over the last 6 months prior to filing the petition for divorce. That's untrue. Nobody was legally residing in the state of Florida. We overstayed our E2 investor visa, and the reason why I did so, I lost $750,000. I tried to recoup my losses. That was the only reason I stayed further in the country. Otherwise, I would have left immediately. It was my wife that filed false statement under oath that she was legally resident in the state of Florida. Fact is that none of us are legal resident of the state or any other state in the United States, but the entire family has been illegal due to overstaying my E2 investor visa, as I said before. We had the opportunity to reside in America for a stipulated period of 2 years on the E2 investor visa, which I tried once to extend since I lost at the time already $750,000 in my business. Jubilee Anqui never established bona fide domicile in the state of Florida or anywhere else in the United States, as her temporary visa as a dependent spouse expired in 2012 already. Domicile by choice can only exist if the residency has some degree of permanency. The illegal status of Jubilee Anqui is contrary to the concept of domicile by choice, as the residency should be ended forthwith. Jubilee Anqui has abused the sanctuary city policies for taking advantage of the laws of the state of Florida to obtain a divorce by fraud. And corrupt judges supported these fraudulent actions and ignored all my motions, all my petitions, and denied them. Why? I exposed their fraud, and I exposed the judges to the global media, and I put press releases all over the internet. I became obviously the enemy #1 by speaking up. Mr. Trump, you know what it means to speak up. Haven't you experienced that with the mainstream media? How corrupt it is? So, rigged system, remember? Hence, I beg you to get help, because first of all, I do not accept such divorce as it is based on fraud, and it cannot be recognized under international laws in my home country, in Germany, because any judgment thought by means of fraud are simply nil and void. In addition, my wife is a national of the Republic of the Philippines. She has falsely claimed to be a legal resident of America. This is, as we all know, against the law of the state and federal immigration laws. We moved to the United States under an E2 investor visa, which is only valid for 2 years. And when the investor visa expired in August 2012, she decided to further remain in the United States illegally, hiding from one city to another with her criminal boyfriend, Jonathan Link Tedrick. I deported myself in order to not further break the law on 20th February 2015, and I currently reside in Marbella, Spain. I also did this to file my The Hague petition for the wrongful retention of my child, which is required by law to file it from the country of your legal domicile, which is Spain, not United States. What exactly caused me not to abide by the expiry date of my E2 visa was mainly because of my financial losses in my business, which I tried to recoup. You know, being a good father, I never abandoned my family, nor did I abandon my son. But rather, Jubilee Anqui abandoned our family by starting an adultery affair and concealing my child for 4 months while I was on a business trip. A fleeing mother illegally in the United States who has been nothing but threatening for the growth and positive upbringing of my child. Okaloosa County Court issued a fake time-sharing order on 15 January 2015 that allowed me to have my child from Friday afternoon to Monday morning. Think about it for a moment. My son is illegally in the country, I am illegal in the country, my wife is illegal in the country, and the court issues a time-sharing order to 3 illegals. What legal validity has this time-sharing order? It's absolutely bullshit and can literally wipe your ass with it. That is the reality of it. Anyways, I was allowed to have my son every Friday afternoon till Monday morning, every other weekend. But still, I was not allowed to pick him up at the place of exchange, which is the school in Destin, Florida. I was arrested at the school for trespassing when I came with my legal court order and wanted to pick up my child. Corruption? Rigged system, Mr. Trump? You will be surprised if you read my case, what has been going on. They threatened me that they will arrest me over and over. Guess for what? For just coming to school, picking up my son following a court order. And then after I got out of jail 3 days later, the police officer who arrested me at the school, Sonia Shepard, threatened me further and tried to intimidate me by saying, I will continuously arrest me just for driving your car with a German driver license, because she knew I was already overstaying my visa, and she knew so was my wife, and my wife was driving around in the car of my boyfriend. Nobody gave a damn about that part. So, corrupt system, rigged, I'll let you be the judge. I'll file my The Hague petition for the wrongful retention of my child from my BSB in April 2015. That was only 4 months after the wrongful retention. At the United States District Court, Northern District of Florida, Pensacola Division, corrupt Margaret Casey Rogers, which is the judge there, made her findings that she concluded that my son is A, well settled, and as illegal immigrant, and B, that I voluntarily gave up my custodial rights by leaving the United States without an immediate threat of deportation. The law required me to leave the US because I was A, illegal, and B, I needed to file my The Hague petition for my legal domicile, which is my BSB. I followed the law to 100%, and I get slapped in the face for doing so, and my child is still wrongfully retained in America, and I followed the law. Rigged system, Mr. Trump. Drain the swamp, please. I'm not the only victim. I did the research. Every year, 200,000 left behind parents suffer from the same thing. And these judges just keep the children in America hostage and make the other parent pay child support in a system where they are all illegals. You see the motivation here? Follow the money, Mr. Trump. That's the motivation. This was a rather schizophrenic statement from a federal judge. I was absolutely in shock when I heard and got to know that the statement was made by a mentally disturbed and rigged judge, Margaret Casey Rogers, and that she implied that I was strongly encouraged to remain illegally in the United States, not following federal immigration laws, under the threat of losing my custodial rights to my child if I would follow the law of the state and leave the country. Can you let that sink in for a moment? I've never ever heard so much stupidity out of the mouth of one judge. This tops every logic I ever heard in my entire life. It makes me rather sick to even analyze that this is possible in the United States of America. If you would tell me that was Nigeria or some other bimbo nation, I might understand. But the United States? Excuse me? Are you kidding me? child kidnapping for money, legalized by corrupt judges. This is what it's all about. Again, Mr. Trump, follow the money, then you will understand the motive. This is a $50 billion industry where wrongfully retained children and their left behind parents are taken to the cleaners by lawyers and judges who collude under a RICO enterprise and drain you empty until you have nothing left. Either you kill yourself or you kill somebody else. But ultimately, they destroy you and your family. Now, is that what America is all about, Mr. Trump? Do you really think that this is the way America should treat their own children and foreign children who ended up on business visas in the country and being now prisoners? These unlawful rulings and statements by Florida courts are contradictory to U.S. federal immigration laws and would constitute harboring illegal aliens, violating United States federal code, period. There's no excuse. The law is very clear. Obviously, these judges have a mentally disturbed brain or they write their own rules, which are absolutely unconstitutional. As a local federal judge or local state judge, you cannot overpower federal law. It seems they're living on another planet. It seems like the sanctuary city mayors live on another planet. What is wrong with these people? I don't get it. Maybe you get it, Mr. Trump, and maybe you will solve the problems. I truly hope so. But the fact is, me abiding by the law of the federal immigration laws to remove myself from the United States cannot constitute a voluntary acceptance of giving up my custodial rights. But it seems that Judge Rogers gives more protection of the law to an illegal alien than to a law-abiding citizen by automatically assuming that the latter has given up voluntarily his custodial rights to his child. Nothing can be further from the truth. I am fighting for more than 2 years to get justice. And unfortunately, under the criminal Obama administration, nobody gives a shit. You have seen it, how corrupt it is. It goes up to the White House, the FBI, Loretta Lynch, James Comey. I mean, the swamp is getting bigger and bigger. Mr. Trump, if you don't clean that swamp and drain it out, nobody ever will. The fact that children get abused and pulled down into this shithole of corruption, excuse my French, is absolutely disgusting. It's a disgrace. It's outrageous. Things like this happening in America? Really? Mr. Trump, are you going to make that change? Will you sign the United Nations Conventions for the Protection of Children? We are the only country left who has not signed this important convention. 193 countries signed it. This convention is more than 25 years old, and every American leader has refused to put a signature on it. Will you change that picture? You and I will make history by changing that picture, please. I am interested to get my son back. I'm not really interested in making history. You are the one who is the President of the United States. But I want to protect other parents who suffer from the same thing like me. So, do you think we can make a positive impact here and change these horrendous crimes against innocent children? Please, Mr. Trump, you have the power to do so. And I know you have a good heart and you love children above everything. If I look at your children, how you have raised them, that tells me enough. That's how I would raise my child. And that's how I have been raising my son, Sean. And now look how he suffers. Why? There is no why. It doesn't exist. So, Mr. Trump, from one father to the other, you know how I feel. And I will not stop until I have my son back. Believe me, no matter what it takes. Due to the overstaying and violation of the United States visa regulation, I am inadmissible to the United States for 10 years, expiring in February 2025. But Jubilee Anqui, my wife, refuses to leave the US with my minor child, and she remains illegally in the United States of America. Jubilee Anqui continuously lives with Duke John Schuermann and her criminal boyfriend, Jonathan Link Tedrick. As I mentioned before, Tedrick is a convicted career criminal, including DUI, driving while suspended, battery, assault, criminal charges, criminal damage, and drugs-related charges also, like drug manufacturing and drug possession. Also, Jonathan Link Tedrick is actively harboring 2 illegal aliens in violation of federal immigration laws, and he is liable for criminal charges against him. One of these illegal aliens is my child. Tedrick is harboring my son, and the screwed up immigration law of America and the corrupt judges and the corrupt police protect this crook more than me as a biological father. I rest my case, Mr. Trump. If that doesn't make you sick as a man and as a father, nothing else will. I can tell you this. The continuing illegal status of Duke John Schuermann would hinder my son to fully participate and develop into adulthood under constant threat of deportation from the United States. And I hope you deport him. I don't want him to be in America. He doesn't belong there. Absolutely none whatsoever. Children of illegal aliens, like my son, especially when being wrongfully retained without any legal immigration status whatsoever in America, should immediately be returned to their left-behind parent. There are 200,000 children right now in USA who have been wrongfully retained in the US by illegal alien parental child kidnappers. Jonathan Link Tedrick also joined this illegal movement by harboring 2 illegal aliens, which are my son and my wife. Without his help and without the help of corrupt judges, this would not be possible. I would have had my son a long time ago, and she would have been kicked out of the country at day number 1. Jubilee Anqui and subsequently the Okaloosa court has aided and abetted her to deny Duke John Schuermann his ability to move freely to his country of citizenship, which is Germany, due to the wrongful retention of my son in the United States. Jubilee Anqui and the state of Florida, by means of aiding and abetting the illegal alien, are limiting Duke John Schuermann's ability to develop his personality by reducing his natural and inalienable rights as a German citizen to return to his home country, resulting from wrongfully retaining my child as an illegal alien in America. In the absence of establishing for Duke John Schuermann domiciled in the state of Florida, the only legal domicile of my child is his last legal domicile in Spain. And I know we can all obtain legal residency status in Spain because we are still legal resident in Spain. I never gave up our domicile when I came to America on a temporary E2 investor visa because I knew it's temporary. I never applied for permanent residency in the United States. Never. We are all still registered in Marbella, Spain, and I can prove it with evidence very clear, which I gave to the federal judge in Pensacola, Judge Margaret Casey Rogers. There's another evidence which is very clear. The Spanish Central Authority would not have represented me in my De Hague petition for the wrongful retention of my child without me being legally domiciled in Spain. I gave the evidence of our legal residence and domicile documents from the Spanish authorities to to Judge Margaret Casey Rogers in Pensacola, Florida, but she refused to accept the evidence and simply denied it. Would you call that a rigged system, Mr. Trump? As you can imagine, without my son, I feel alone, terrified about the future of my child, and totally unsettled. I have a wonderful home in Spain, but it never really has been a home, because without my son Sean, there is no home. It does not exist, as you will understand. At every moment of my life, I'm constantly reminded of what I'm missing and how much I miss my son Sean. And increasingly I feel, without my son, there's not much to live for. You are a father, Mr. Trump, and your grandfather. You will understand what I'm referring to. Trust me, Mr. Trump, right now I'm still trying to solve this problem legally, and I hope with your support we can get back my son immediately and hopefully also help the other 200,000 left behind parents who are suffering from the same thing like me, parental child kidnapping by illegal aliens in your country. All I want is justice and enforcement of immigration and federal criminal laws, which my child kidnapping wife and her criminal boyfriend, Jonathan Link Tedrick, violated. Mr. Trump, I know you are a very intelligent man, and I highly respect your honesty, your integrity, and therefore I trust in you and in your capacity to get my son back immediately and help 200,000 other parents who are suffering from the same corrupt and rigged family court system. I know there is a fast track to declare all judgments regarding an illegal alien who broke several federal immigration laws as null and void, and return my son to me immediately. You know, Mr. Trump, that you promised America that you will arrest all illegals who overstayed their visas. My wife is one of them. And justice needs to be done. I mean real justice. And I will very much appreciate, I look at you from the first day when I read your first books in the early 80s, The Art to Make a Deal. I always kept looking at you like a leader, like a winner, like my role model, like an icon. And it hasn't changed for so many years. And I was hoping that you win the election because the corruption in America is absolutely outrageous. I want my rights as a father reinstored, and I want justice against the criminals who did this unexcusable act against my son and many other children who are suffering from the same. Mr. Trump, all my requests so far that you become president have been granted, and all my grudges will be laid to rest the moment I have my son back in my arms. I love you, Mr. Trump, from man to man, and I always will. You always have been my role model. So speaking to you today with that sad message in my heart is not the way I wanted to make our first connection, but right now I have no other choice. So therefore, I hereby thank you, sir, for your immediate attention to this very important matter. All I want is to be reunited with my child, and the 200,000 other left behind parents want exactly the same. Is this too much to ask for? Mr. Trump, I'm looking forward to hear from you and have my child reunited with me without further delays and without further suffering. This message is from Stefan Schuermann, a loving and concerned father fighting for the liberty and freedom of his child, Duke Sean Schuermann, who has been legally and wrongfully retained in your country. Thank you, Mr. Trump.